All right, let's take a look at the next manager odds, though. As long as there's no
so
sweet
Pochettino put corn in the shepherd's pie, is what you're telling me.
It can be the only thing. It's Ipswich's Kieran McKenna that is top on the odds right now, followed by Roberto De Zerbi, Ruben Amorim, Thomas Frank, Thomas Tuchel again, and Michel. Tell us a bit more about Kieran McKenna being the front runner here, then, Gab.
So, well, Kieran McKenna obviously got Ipswich promoted. He was formerly an assistant at Manchester United, 2 straight promotions at Ipswich. I have to say, it's a typical one where somebody's clearly doing the rounds, because he's been linked to Manchester United as well. He was linked to Brighton and now Chelsea all in the past week. Another name to throw in there as well is Enzo Maresca, also promoted, of course, with Leicester City. He was formerly Pep Guardiola's assistant at Man City. The idea is they see these as people who will work within their parameters, where they don't tell the coach how to play. They say, these are the players, these are the basic principles, go out, win games, make the team better, develop these players, and do it with this set of players that we give you because the players are good. And it's not for everyone. Certainly, somebody like Kieran McKenna or Enzo Maresca is going to have a lot less leverage with the ownership than a more senior manager like Poch is going to have.
If you were a betting man, Gab, who would you go for as the next Chelsea manager?
Well, I think it's certainly somebody fitting that profile. So McKenna would be in the mix. Maresca would be in the mix. Amorim is an excellent manager. I don't think he fits that profile. You really have to get somebody who is aligned, because for now at least, those 2 guys, Stewart and Winstanley, with their boss Igbali, who assigns the paychecks behind them, they're the ones who are saying, this is the plan. We're not going to deviate from this plan. That's why we got rid of Pochettino. So you assume that those guys might be a little bit more pliable, than somebody like Poch, who can leave here and, probably walk into another, if not top job, then, maybe the next tier down very, very quickly.
What about you, Stevie? Who do you see here? Maybe your new puppet on a string at Chelsea.
I honestly have no idea. And the reason why I have no inkling whatsoever is that, Gab's talking about they've got a plan, right? But if they've got this so-called plan, clearly the plan with buying all the younger players hasn't worked, because they're miles off it. And again, I think I agree with Gab. If the plan was to bring in somebody who would align with what they want to do, why did they bring in Pochettino? So they've gotten everything wrong so far. So what's to suggest they're going to make the right decision? I have no idea. They've tried everything. They Tuchel, they got rid of him. They brought the young guy in Potter, they got rid of him. They brought an experienced guy in Pochettino, they've got rid of him. I mean, they could go anywhere. Honestly, there's actually no formula for trying to figure out who these guys are going to sign. There's no formula, not a clue.
OK, now there are reports today that Erik Ten Hag could be on his way out at Manchester United. Oh, yes.
You don't say.
Reports from a respected Italian journalist, might I add as well. And guess what? Mauricio Pochettino at the top. So I'm going to stay with you, Stevie. Do you think this could be a good move mutually?
I would have no problem with Pochettino getting the Manchester United job. Absolutely not. Listen, he's taken a team. He took Spurs very close to the Premier League title. He got beaten in a Champions League final, so he knows what he's doing. He brought young players along. Right now the positives at United are about the young players they have. So you've got a guy who's got a past in bringing young players along, and with the finances that United should have, then you go and top that up with some quality. So I would have no problem with Pochettino being Manchester United manager.
What do you think about that, Jurgen?
Well, obviously, this will be a very busy summer in terms of the carousel of managers. I mean, there's a lot going on. Big clubs, they're looking around and trying to find a solution. Obviously, you have the Euros and you have the Copa America, and there will be usually 40 to 50% of those jobs, will be changed after the big tournaments as well. So this is a very interesting time to speculate, to come up with ideas. But as you rightfully said, and Steve has said it before, that you got to think about the leverage, of your manager you're going to bring in. Is the leverage now really strong enough with the owners, that at the end of the day deliver you then the players, the team, and the infrastructure? And what is your leverage with the players at the end of the day? Are the players behind you? Do they share your philosophy, your style of play? And if you look at today's game, you need players like, at Atalanta that totally buy into this style of football, meaning highly aggressive, high pressure, 90-minute, very physical, and always going to the extreme in your performances physically and mentally. So you need the players basically backing you, and this type of leverage is very difficult often to have for managers. Maybe you have the leverage with your players, you go well, but you don't have the leverage with your management, meaning your owners, or vice versa. And so every time these big clubs now kind of look around and look for the next manager, they need to figure out what exact profile do they really need. What fits in our environment, in our history, in our neighborhood, because Chelsea is different to Arsenal, is different to Tottenham, is different to Man United, and so on. And if you go throughout Europe, there's so many kind of cultural differences that managers that come in, they need to fit. They need to get a chance, maybe try it out for 1, 2, 3 years. But who gives you the time nowadays to go for 2 or 3 years? I always thought David Moyes was the perfect fit, absolute perfect, and I still think it today, the perfect fit for Man United. But they didn't even give him a year. So Alex Ferguson were given 4 or 5 years to win his first trophies. So today it's a very tricky environment for managers, for the clubs as well. But with the fact that ownerships change everywhere so quickly, and suddenly you have, instead of an English owner, you have an American owner, you have owners from the Middle East, you have owners from all over the places. There's a lot of issues that come on the table, and if you don't fit all those boxes, then very difficult to keep your job.
Poch, the answer at United, LA?
Well, I do know something for certain. David Moyes is not the answer. He's not the answer now. Pochettino, look, I think, in my estimation, if I'm Manchester United, it seems like a very safe choice. And you could do worse than Pochettino, I'll say that much. So, and for him, I think it seems like a natural transition as well. And I mean, it feels all too convenient, but yeah, I think it would make sense from both parties.